about forever.
Go.
I'm not the chairman. I'm gonna pass on drumleaf. I'm keen to hear the critiques from the others. I am the chairman of drumleaf.
It's true.
Amazing business. Definitely fund that one. So I feel like I'm caught between a rock and a hard place because I know drumleaf and then there's this business which is food, which is not really my area. But I think the story is really, really compelling. I was trying to find. I think the story is so compelling. The pitch is fantastic. I mean, you lay out the problem really, really nicely. You talk about how you're going to solve it. You talk about the addressable market in a really nice manner. It sounds compelling. It's such a problem we can attach to even if we don't understand the food industry. I like the New Zealand piece in that. I really like that it's kind of an ownable Kiwi story. And it's a really interesting combination of science and software, and I felt like an application of a software model to like a science food industry, which the way you're pricing it and the way you guys, for me as a software person, was really, really interesting. So from an investment standpoint, I mean, I don't know that I've got a lot to add. I feel like from the pitch standpoint, I want to hear a little bit more about your food smarts. I think you've probably got them in the team. Okay. I know you've got them in your partners, but I want to hear a little bit more about why you guys are in that real position to win. Great problem, you think you know the solution, but why is it your team can nail it? And so from an investment standpoint, I'd want to play that up a little bit more. Why we can win from New Zealand. I didn't hear about your sales strategy either, which is an investor, I'd want to hear that too. How are you going to attack that market? But it stacks up really, really nicely. So they were big questions. Connections, gosh, I don't know that I have any. If I sniff out any potato people,
It'll be chips.
I'll your way. And really great clients, great client base. So solid pitch.
Thank you.
So drumleaf, it was a very confident presentation, very smooth, which is great. I would say, and this, I've been in the US for like more than 20 years. So this is very much from a Silicon Valley US perspective, which is different in different markets. But there's sort of like a formulaic way that people expect to hear things. And so I was sort of left waiting for what problem are you solving? And usually it's the first thing you want to get out there because that's what intrigues folks. And this is where CropLogic did a really good job. There's a couple of things to get out there straight away, which is what problem are you solving and how big is the market? And the problem wasn't quite clear. And the market you got to later, but your market was a subset of that, where really what they want to know is, if you notice, your market was twice as big as his, but because you put it in relation to the overall market, you lost a bit of bang there. So in this market, you really need to go to that formulaic, what am I doing? And everyone's waiting to hear what you're doing. And you got in there the fact that you had some IP, which is another thing they're going to look for. So that was really good, where that didn't come through to the same extent on CropLogic. Because they're going to ask here, because it is more software-centric, is it predictable where, it's just a tick in the box. That's really important. I think the other thing is, in Silicon Valley, they say there's 3 reasons why I invest. And that's management, management, and management. And so, talking a little bit more about who the team is and why is absolutely critical, because that's why people invest. So once again, just something you want to, so you just want to think about reorganising that in a way, because that's what people are listening for, to say, am I going to take a meeting or not? The other thing I would just reconsider is, you know how you said this is my 4th round of investment? Well, in Silicon Valley, that means I'm going public. You know what I'm saying? So that would actually send off alarm bells for someone here. So I would just rethink how you position that, to say it in a positive, reverse it around, to say, and we've had X million, and we're going for this next round or whatever, but you really want to do something creative here, like smash it all into a reverse A, and say you're going out for your B, or I've done my friends and family rounds, and now I'm going out for my A, right? Because you'll turn them right off. But I thought that looking through that, it was intriguing, and I think you had a lot of great confidence. I thought you had great eye contact, and I am intrigued to know more about it, even though I don't quite have enough information to get connected. Another thing that people love here is they love to be asked to help. So even though it seems weird, and especially this is a weird thing for Kiwis to ask for help, but that actually pulls people in, because especially here, often people want to invest when they feel like they can add additional value. So basically by standing up and saying, and I'm looking for this much money, but I'm also looking for A, B, and C, that will actually help you bring people to you. So that whole being vulnerable thing is actually attractive here, which I know is hard, but you have to sort of practice it in front of the mirror. So I'm going to keep myself. And then I think further out, I've already made a connection for you tomorrow with big games investor, etc. So he would be a great place to start, and is very connected in the, has chaired and has taken, I think, produced like 4 or 5 very successful games companies. So hopefully that's a good insight and stepping stone. I think with CropLogic, I think you did you could have been a bit higher on the confidence thing that you came across as more of a scientist, which does play quite well at times. So that's not a negative necessarily. So you don't need to change that, just maybe work it up a bit more, you know, be sort of the smooth dude or the scientist or the geek, just go with the character. Because everyone sort of recognises that. I thought you did a really good job of getting you intrigued in terms of the size of the market and the problem you were solving. You were right out with that, which was really good. But then I didn't really hear about IP, and to Claudia's point, the first thing I went to is, well, hell, if you're selling at $8 to $12 an acre, how are you going to get your distribution? So I thought, I didn't hear enough about that, because I was worried about that. So I'm thinking, God, that sounds hard. And I didn't, maybe you said this, but I didn't really hear it. I heard a lot about, as someone in Silicon Valley, I have no idea what Auckland is, and I have no idea really we're New Zealanders, and I don't really know that we're great at agriculture. So emphasising that is good. I thought, and because you said I want to be world class, and I sort of agree with Claudia. You sort of need to think about your New Zealand pitch and then link that a little bit as to why it's world class. New Zealand already is world class, so you could use that as a much more productive jumping off point, you know. And I thought you did a good job of management and linking that together. So I thought you did a good job on that. And so I was intrigued. I have a few people I could connect you with who are New Zealanders who've sort of done the agricultural LinkedIn, and I know a few people who've done quite a bit of work in Iowa, potato country.
Potato people.
So I could probably make a few connections for you in that way, if that's relevant. I had done through the $5 million fundraising thing, so. Good job, though.
You won't be asked all the time.
So let's see, I don't want to, so drumleaf, yeah, I think it's a really interesting market. It's a large market, and I was waiting, like, when are you going to say how big the market is? And you did, so that was great. I don't think it was clear enough right at the beginning what the problem was that you're solving, but then you did get to that, and that is really important. And you know, clearly the gaming market is, there's a lot of big players out there, so I think getting out really quickly how you're differentiated in a particular problem you're solving within that market is really important. And I think it was all there, it's maybe just a matter of getting it out a little quicker. I like that you showed, when I'm pitching, people really want to see what you've built and what you've created. It's great because you've actually built something and you've actually got users, so you're in a good position there. It's not that you're just talking about what you're going to build. Maybe making it, to me, a little, as I'm not a gamer and I don't have children, a little clear exactly what that game was. I think you can make that a little bit clearer, at least for me when I was listening. Some things that would have been, so I thought it was great that you would point to the fact you have 300,000 kids using it. Anything that could show the growth would be really, really helpful, I think. And then anything you can say about how you're getting that growth. So, you know, is there some great viral channels for the product, or are you having to go out and pay for every new user that you get? I think that
that, and you guys have pointed to it for the next company, but what is your user acquisition strategy? I think will come up, and it's good if you can be able to talk about that. I also felt like you could probably go into more, team is incredibly important, just more detail about your team. And it's funny because I remember doing that when we pitched too. It was the team was the last slide, and you kind of felt like it wasn't, it's at the end, it's not that important, but it's actually what people are really going to get excited about. And at the end of the day, they're going to invest in you and your vision and your capabilities and your team way more than exactly what you say you're doing. I think those are the things that I jotted down as things you can think about putting into your presentation. On the context front, so I do know a number of people in the gaming industry, specifically the guys from Playfish. So I know that's not exactly your area, but to the extent that would be helpful. They're a private electron guys. Yeah, so they were, in Zynga. Zynga was a major competitor to them, and they did extremely well. So they've certainly, could probably tell you a lot about the kinds of investors that might invest in your space. Let's see. So CropLogic, I really like what you guys are doing, precisely because it's kind of an industry I do because I grew up on a farm. But it's like one of these non-sexy industries a little bit. I can't think of another company out here in Silicon Valley that's doing something like this, and I like the fact that you can tie it back. You can tie it back to New Zealand, and there's sort of a story for why you guys would be in this space and why you could be particularly good at this space. So in general, I think it sounds like an intriguing market. I thought you were able to point to some really good credibility points, and you got them out quite quickly, like the fact that you're able to get 1% quality yield, and that leads to 15% profit increases. That's great, and that's really compelling. And you got that quickly. You articulated the problem and solution nicely. I think you could probably play that up even more. Just the sort of what I found when I was pitching is the more you can tell a story and be really engaging about how you came into this business and why you're passionate about it. Investors love to see passion, I think. And you can tell a good story. So can you as well. I mean, for you, it's really about kids and safe environments and providing games that are actually, they're going to play games, let's make it useful, let's make their time. For you, I think you've got this looming problem in the world, and you could really tell a very compelling story around that. I think you had it, you could probably play it up even more. Saying that you had the 30 decades of research behind you was really compelling. I thought the business model sounds compelling to the extent that every new farmer you get and every farmer that extends it across his acreage, you're going to make money. So it's a very scalable revenue model. The things I didn't hear, and it's been mentioned a little bit, how many customers do you currently have? So you talked about some great brand names, but what does that actually mean in terms of revenues, in terms of acreage under management, I guess? It wasn't quite clear to me how much of it is technology, how much of it is consulting as well. So you talked about the things you can help brands with, it's my business, farmers with. But I was a little unclear, are you helping that just through the technology, or is there a consulting sort of play? And definitely investors are keen to always know how scalable is your business, so you might want to clarify that, particularly if it is only technology, because you want to highlight that. And yeah, how are you getting to these farmers? Do you have a sales team? Do you need a sales team? What is that go-to-market strategy that's been mentioned already? Those were some feedback. I'm trying to think of context for you. I actually think that's a positive that I can't, because it points to the fact that what you're doing is unique in this area, which you may find that's a challenge because you need to educate the investors that you're pitching to more than you will have to, for example. So that'll be a challenge, and you have to just help them really understand the potential in the market size. But I think you'll find that it's something that they haven't heard as much before, at least in the circles that I operate in, I guess. I'll keep thinking about it if there's anyone I know that's in this space, but I can't off the top of my head.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.